everyone! It's pouring over here. Actually today I want to share with you my Aroids substrate mix, which some of you have been asking me about. But before I go into my Aroids, I just want to share with you that I live in Malaysia, and normally we are very hot here, between 30 and 40 degrees Celsius, and our humidity is about 80 degrees. So what I share here might not work for you, but it's good to know. It's good to know what we use here for our Aroids. Alright, let's get into my house and I'll show you what I've prepared. What I've prepared here is two categories of mix. In my mind, I usually categorize my Aroid mix into wet mix and dry mix. But let's talk about the wet mix first, because this is the mix that most Aroids would be very happy in my kind of climate. So what we have inside is lots of cocoa chips. These are just broken up pieces of coconut husk and charcoal. I love using charcoal as the drainage element because charcoal also has like nooks and crevices where good bacteria can actually live in them and give lots of nutrients to the roots of my Aroids. In times when I can't buy charcoal, usually it's a little bit difficult to buy in the city, I would go for leca beads or leca balls. These are just heated up clay. As you can see, it also has some little hidey hole spaces where the good bacteria can live in. So either or, charcoal or leca balls for the drainage part of the substrate, and cocoa chip for the moisture part of the substrate. It will absorb some water and keep the roots cool, but it will not rot the roots because all the water, excess water, will be drained out. In situations where the plant is really huge and I like to sit the plant into the pot better or ground the plant into the pot better, I would add some soil to this mix. Now this is the soil mix that I will add in. So this is some organic potting mix, and this is perlite. So 50% of each to put into this, to add into this mix, just to ground the plant in. If the plant is small, you don't need this. You can just go with these two, 60% cocoa chip and 40% charcoal or leca balls. Now let's move on to the dry mix. Now some Aroids I discovered do not actually like the wet mix. It rots their roots quite easily. One very good example is my Anthurium clarinervium. The Anthurium clarinervium does not like the wet mix because naturally, in its natural habitat, it lives on rock crevices. So it prefers quite dry at the roots area, and it prefers a lot of wind, a lot of aeration, okay, because it's very high up on the rocks and the roots cannot take a lot of moisture. So what I do for Aroids like that, I will use the dry mix. Okay, so no cocoa chips at all. The mix would consist of leca beads, charcoal, rainbow stones, or pumice, you can use pumice stone, and this combination. So the moisture retention will only come from the soil, and the rest of the elements are all water draining, okay, moisture draining. So this is for certain Aroids which does not like the wet mix. To name another one is the Alocasia mallow. That one does not like the wet mix as well. It prefers the dry mix. Okay, so I hope this is quite clear. Now on top of all this, because all these, besides the soil, have no fertilizer, no nutrients in it, what I do is I add some Osmocote slow release fertilizer into the pot with these mixes so that it provides some food for the plants while it's in the pot. And a slow release fertilizer will last you about 4 to 5 months before you need to top up again. Okay, just a pinch of fertilizer. Just throw it into the pot with your mix. And you can also add some liquid fish foliar to your soil, to your substrate, or you can spray it on the leaves of your plants every 2 weeks during the growing season. Our growing season here is the full year, so we don't have winter, or we don't have times where the plants get dormant. So our plants grow full year round. So this is my gloriosum. As you can see, it comprises of the wet mix, which is lots of cocoa chips. This one I've added soil because the plant is so huge, so I needed to add the soil to ground the plant in. Cocoa chips, charcoal, soil, and perlite. And this is the clarinervium, Anthurium clarinervium. And as you can see, it's mostly dry substrate. Some leca, charcoal, lots of perlite. This one I added lots of perlite. And a little bit of soil and some pumice stone. Now, let me just add something. This is the clarinervium, and this is the crystallinum, Anthurium crystallinum. Now this one, although they look quite similar, this one loves the wet mix. Okay? That's why you can see lots of cocoa chips in there. Cocoa chips, leca, and charcoal, and some soil to ground the plant. Okay? That's my philodendron micans. So I hope this helps, but do experiment for your environment, because like I say, we are very different here. Thanks for watching.